This is the Italian Citizenship Podcast, hosted by Marco Permunian and Rafael Di Furia. Hello there, and welcome to another episode of the Italian Citizenship Podcast, presented by Italiancitizenshipassistance.com. Of course, we are back at it again with Italian attorney Marco Permunian. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I am doing great, thank you. And today, we wanted to do a 101 very basic overview of getting Italian citizenship by descent. So Marco, let's just jump straight into this. And where is it that a person should even start when they are trying to determine if they are eligible for Italian citizenship?
When it comes to citizenship by descent, it's important to state that there is no generational limit. So you can apply for Italian citizenship regardless of who your Italian ancestor who was born in Italy is. It doesn't matter if it's your grandparent, great-grandparent, great-great-grandparent. There are some eligibility requirements and rules that need to be respected, meaning your Italian ancestor who was born in Italy must have been born after 1861 when Italy was unified, or must have been alive in 1861, even if he was born before that date. Now, the second most important requirement is that the Italian ancestor who was born in Italy was either never naturalized in a foreign country or naturalized after their child was born in the foreign country, as long as the naturalization, again, for those ancestors who naturalized, happened after 1912. Now, the next most important requirement is that if you have a female ancestor in your Italian line, the child of such ancestor must have been born after January 1st of 1948, when the Italian Constitution came into effect, because prior to that date, women were not legally allowed to transfer their citizenship to their children. Now, a lot of people will be probably wondering, how do I go about finding this information? Of course, people generally speaking know who their grandparents were. They have very good information about their grandparents. They know who they were, their names, last names, date of birth, place of birth, or they can easily ask. But when it comes to great-grandparents, it becomes a little bit more difficult. Some people will have the information, some people won't have the information, and maybe there's nobody they can ask to. So it can be somewhat tricky for certain people in certain situations to track down the ancestor who was born in Italy. Maybe they know their name, but they don't know exactly where they were born or when they were born. Well, in these cases, Italiancitizenshipassistance.com can help you track down the missing information. We offer a free preliminary assessment of your case, and all we need is for you to fill out a simple chart with the information that you have at your disposal. So it's not necessary to have all of the information regarding your ancestors, regarding your intermediate descendants. We have been able to track down information by starting from very basic information. So we have had clients that didn't know who their great-grandparents were. Maybe they knew the region where they came from in Italy. They didn't know the exact town. Maybe they knew the province. But we have been able, in the vast majority of cases, to track down the missing information. And that's thanks to the many databases that are available. We at Italiancitizenshipassistance.com have access to several of these databases, and we are able to track down information. And again, this is part of the free eligibility assessment that we offer as part of the initial series of consultations. So it's something that our clients can benefit from free of charge and before they engage our services. And we do provide the information that we find to our potential clients, regardless of whether they end up purchasing our services. Now, once we have determined whether you qualify for Italian citizenship by descent, we generally advise on the best way to pursue Italian citizenship. In fact, there are several ways of applying for Italian citizenship by descent. The most common is to file the application for citizenship through an Italian consulate in your country of residency, but some people decide to relocate to Italy, even temporarily, to file the citizenship application there. Now, for those people who have a female ancestor who gave birth to her child prior to January 1st of 1948, thanks to a Supreme Court decision from 2009, it is possible to pursue Italian citizenship via the court system. So even if these people don't have the right to pursue Italian citizenship and file an application through an Italian consulate or Italian municipality because they have a female ancestor who was not legally able to transfer their citizenship to their children born prior to January 1st of 1948, it is now possible since 2009 to file an application through the Italian court system and get citizenship that way. And just remember that it's not necessary to speak Italian to get Italian citizenship by descent, because the process constitutes a retroactive recognition of your birthright. So you are going through the process to enforce your right that you had since birth to be recognized as an Italian citizen.
Well, thank you so much, Marco, for this overview of getting Italian citizenship by descent, but also something related to getting Italian citizenship by descent, and it's getting through your ancestry, but in a different way. And that is going through a 1948 case, making a case in front of a judge in Italy for those who have a female ancestor. Would you mind giving us a little bit of an overview of how that works as well?
Some people won't qualify for citizenship by descent because, for example, their male ancestor, generally the great-grandparent, became naturalized before his child was born in the US. And this disqualifies the descendant from applying for Italian citizenship by descent through that specific ancestor. But in several cases, it just so happens that the female ancestor never naturalized. So only the male ancestor naturalized, whereas the female ancestor never naturalized. So a lot of people, they wonder, can I use this female ancestor? Because by reading online, you will realize that a lot of sources will indicate that a female ancestor cannot pass citizenship to children born prior to January 1st of 1948. But thanks to a Supreme Court's decision from 2009, as I mentioned before, it is now possible to claim citizenship through a female ancestor because that specific ruling established that the principles included in the Italian Constitution are to be applied retroactively. So even if prior to the Italian Constitution, women were not legally able to pass their children citizenship, and even if the Italian Constitution only in 1948 set that rule for women, according to the Supreme Court's ruling, those set of rules are to be applied retroactively. So also to situations that happened before 1948. Now, there will also be people who are not in a situation where they have to use the female ancestor who was born in Italy. Rather, they have an intermediate ascendant who is a female who gave birth to her child prior to 1948. And also those people, they have to petition the court in Italy in order to get Italian citizenship through descent. Now, people who petition the court need to have an attorney who represents them. And we, of course, at Italiancitizenshipassistance.com can help people with these type of cases. And these type of cases are very successful. There are many precedents in the Italian legal system, so it's basically almost guaranteed that you will get citizenship. Of course, the decision is always up to the judge, and in Italy, the legal precedent is not legally binding. However, there's been a very high number of approvals in the past years, so this is a very safe path to acquire citizenship by descent.
Well, thank you again, Marco, for giving us an overview of that aspect of getting Italian citizenship by descent. But many people are looking for specific benefits, and they're looking for what are the upsides to getting Italian citizenship. So, Marco, can you go over what some of those benefits are of being an Italian citizen, other than just the basic, simple one, which is one of my favorites, of being able to call Italy your actual home without any limitation?
Getting Italian citizenship by descent gives you access not only to Italy, but to the whole European Union, being that Italy is part of the European Union. But having an Italian passport allows you not only to visit other European countries, but also to live there and move there with little formalities. So as an Italian citizen, you can establish residency in Spain without the need to basically get a visa or do anything else. You will have to register as a resident in the country where you move. But other than that, there isn't much more that you have to do. You can establish residency freely in any European country and benefit from the services offered by the government of that country. And it goes without saying that having Italian citizenship gives you access to more employment opportunities in the European Union, as generally speaking, European companies will prefer individuals with dual citizenship, meaning citizenship of a European country as well as their citizenship of origin, because these people, they don't have to go through the process of getting a visa to be employed by those companies. And finally, one of the most important benefits of having Italian citizenship is the free health care that is offered to Italian citizens residing in Italy, which is free or at a very low cost, and especially in comparison to the cost of the healthcare in the US, even considering the payments that sometimes you have to make to access certain services, it comes at a fraction of the cost of what you would pay for the same services in the US. And of course, you will have access to universities in Italy and Europe, and there are, generally speaking, lower tuitions for individuals who have dual citizenship. Europe has wonderful universities, and the cost of such universities is much lower than the cost that you would have to pay in other countries like, for example, the US.
Yeah, that particular point I would very much agree with. I mean, sometimes European schools can be a fraction of the cost, even for all 4 years of school in comparison to just one singular year back in the US. But I do think that this is a great place to round out this episode. So Marco, thank you so much for making yourself available to get into this episode and give us this overview of what it looks like getting Italian citizenship by descent. But of course, if anybody is needing any help to get Italian citizenship, how can they get in contact with you and your team?
People can contact us through our website, ItalianCitizenshipassistance.com, or give us a call. Our numbers on the website.
Absolutely fantastic. And of course, if you're interested in more information like this about Italian citizenship, whether it's through descent, marriage, or residency, be sure that you are subscribed to this YouTube channel as well as the audio-only podcast on your favorite podcasting platform of choice. But if you are subscribed to the YouTube channel, that means you are also automatically subscribed to the Italian Real Estate Podcast, where Marco and I talk about some of the nitty-gritty details revolving around making Italy your home in a practical sense, purchasing property, renting property, and where to do so. And if you're interested in more conversations about life abroad and living abroad as a dual citizen expat, be sure to come over to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Rafael Di Furia, or you can search for Not Your Average Globetrotter on YouTube or your favorite podcasting platform of choice. But of course, we have been here again with Italian attorney Marco Permunian from ItalianCitizenshipassistance.com for this episode of the Italian Citizenship Podcast. I'm Rafael Di Furia. Stay safe and healthy out there, and we'll see you all next time. Later.
Thank you.